Good morning, welcome to Morning Outlook. This is Kim speaking on Monday the 28th of February. So let's get cracking and look at these markets. Firstly, the risk events. Obviously there's geopolitical risk events going on, but let's just keep with the ones that we can actually plan for at least. Firstly, and today, well, we've got pretty little really. Neither of these numbers coming out today will create much. I'm just checking on my other system to see that we have got an ECB speaker at 11:30 according to my other system here, so that yeah, that's pretty. Oh, actually, and Fed Bostic speaking at 15:30, so 3:30. So there are a couple of speakers not on my list here, but are due to be speaking later. That said, I think the focus will be on the situation with Ukraine and Russia for a lot of traders. Now, we've already seen overnight there, I say overnight, but yesterday evening we opened on a gap down there, so the market's gap down. It's sort of filled some of that gap to. It's not completely filled the overall gap in terms of where it closed on Friday, but halfway there. Weekly pivot sits at 12.57. The daily pivot sits just a bit lower there at 12.37. So we got some targets at sort of potentially to the upside. We've got Friday's highs, etc., and close, and everything else all sitting up there. A break above the 60-minute 34 might just get us there, or show us more of a sign that we're going that way. We have put this little higher low in already, so since the gap. But as I said, personally, I'd prefer it breaking above that 34. If it starts breaking above that, well, it's got more of a bullish picture. Alternatively, I think you just got to be careful and not trying to jump in too quickly. I could still be bearish on this market easy enough. It's been bearish for quite some time there. It's in this downward trend, so I could easily be bearish beforehand. And in fact, even if it gets up towards the weekly pivot there, it may be an opportunity to short it because that's the way it's going. So it's been going that way. But anyway, for now, yeah, shorting a little bit more difficult this morning maybe. We'll just see what happens post 8 o'clock, but my preference is for it to get back up to these highs. Okay, the pound. So pound, we saw similar-ish gaps in the market. There we go. The open gap is nearly there. Again, weekly pivots above. No surprises here with this price action going on. The risk of nuclear always gets the markets on a shaky start. So that's where we are at the moment. We're going back into a bit of a cold war, and the reaction on the markets at the moment. We've got targets in terms of the upside. The weekly sitting there at 134.43, and before that the daily pivot at 134.05. The way these are moving with the higher lows, I do wonder if they'll carry on pushing up and fill these gaps. We'll see a bit more of a recovery. Dollar yen. Dollar yen's are quite a mess on the dailies here. Hard to work out which way this is going before we look at anything else and take into account any price action. Certainly nothing in the way of major gaps there, but consolidated, tight old move. My preference would be, if I was trading this, is to the upside, but with the risk factor that goes with it is probably best left alone for now. Aussie dollar, well, we had the gap down here as well. Commodities starting to pick up a little bit here. We're already into its weekly pivot on you should see on this 4-hour chart here, and well, I think the daily pivot must be around that level as well because it's hidden. So there you go, daily pivot, weekly pivot already been hit, and it's looking at, again, the Aussie was one of the stronger pairings, currencies rather, last week, and it could be on to continue in that mode. Okay, that's the Aussie. Canadian dollar, I got a request this morning. We can look at natural gas. Yep. Okay, Canadian dollar this morning, well, again, a bit of gappage going on there. It was recovering. The US dollar, this is, remember, US dollar CAD, so the Canadian dollar prices were recovering on Friday. Again, we're seeing the same old thing here in terms of inverted, obviously, but same principle. Bit of strength going back towards the Canadian dollar. Dollar selling a little bit. Gaps, they become targets often like this, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see those filled. Okay, that's the majors I'm looking at there. I did get a request to have a look at the Huff. Get the right one. There you go. We'll cover this, but the Hungarian forint is already well, shoving up pretty well here at this stage. Just looking, this is the Euro Huff, where the Euro's continuing. Euro was against the Hungarian forint was already pushing up, and it's just, well, continuing in that mode. We're just seeing potentially more of a continuation. Not much more to say there. It's coming up to some key highs here. Regardless of what happened before, it looks like it's a point of potential resistance for a while, but a break of that would be quite bullish. Right, there you go. That was a quick look at that. Top of the morning, Alan. Right, okay, that's looked at that. Let's have a look at gold. So, gold saw a flash the other day. We've overnight it's not been trading where you might have expected it to, and at the moment it's coming off here and looking a bit soft. I've still got my alert from last week sitting up here. It's not pushing that way at the moment. In fact, it's filling its gap as well, so it's I wouldn't be surprised if we see a little bit left over of this, but it might become bullish as the day goes on. But for now, a bit range bound and a bit of ugly there. Oil, obviously, I say obviously, but we're on a positive tick at the moment, or was on a positive tick, but even this is actually pulling back a little bit. Weekly pivot sits below. That might become a target at some point here. The gap also, but as with gold, may not just get these gaps filled. But if it does start breaking through this sort of key, this sort of where is it? It's through its R1 at the moment. A pull back, could see it coming back to fill that gap, hit the daily pivot as well. So potential, but overall remain relatively bullish on oil as in the current circumstances. Let's just whoops, sorry. Let's just bring the other charting into play here. Let's have a quick look through cryptos. I'll come on to gas in a moment for the request there. But Bitcoin, Bitcoin over the weekend sold basically. Saturday, Sunday we saw selling coming in Bitcoin. It's there's a lot of fear in it at the moment. There seems to be more uncertainty than anything else. Dollar's softening a bit this morning. We've seen a bit of a rally, or I say a bit of a rally, but a bit of a movement. I hardly call it a rally, but a bit of upside. Ethereum following suit. I mean, it's pretty a common picture across Bitcoin and the altcoins. Same old as we run through these. Binance, let's have a look at that. What's doing? Again, sell off a couple of days. It's still to me looking soft regardless, and they certainly haven't become the safety opportunity people thought they might have been. So the cryptos there all looking rather soft. Coming on to the indices. Before I do that, let's have a look at natural gas, and I'm looking at US data, the US natural gas figures. They barely moved actually. Sorry, I haven't got to hand the I could probably dig them out, but I haven't got time this morning to look at them, but right this minute. But they've not really US natural gas obviously not moved, but I do understand that the prices locally are much significantly higher. Sorry, I haven't got time to chase after that right now. Let's have a look at these equity markets though, and Same old. I've sat here bearish for God knows how many weeks on the CSI 300, and it's just consolidating around these lows. I just feel like it's got further downside. It might have a bit of an update today if we see these other markets pushing more positively, but I think with the amount of risk that's sitting around at the moment, I'd be surprised if we see too much upside, unless something is, of course, agreed. There are apparently talks going on today between Russia and Ukraine. Who knows? Okay, Nikkei, again, a little bit more positive overnight there, followed on from Friday, but well, up 50 points, up a fraction, 0.2%. Other markets, let's have a look at Nifty 50 first, as it's still alive, open midday. That's again bullish, but bullish day, but it did gap down quite a bit to start with. Still got the potential to get back up to these prior lows here. I think that could be a reasonable resistance point potentially for selling into, but we'll see how the markets react to it. But that would be generally, when we've had that sort of level of support, often it comes back, retests the support, and then rolls. So there's certainly potential there. Looking at the European markets then, the DAX this morning, no surprises, down at the moment and gap down, and currently down. I don't know how much of a gap that is. There must be a decent gap in there on the DAX. Euro down the the CAC down this morning quite significantly as well. So, but these are already have been looking bearish for some time. So many of the equity markets, it's the same old story all the way through. Looking elsewhere, the US markets, I'll come back and see if the FTSE's open in a couple of minutes. S&Ps, well, the futures there are currently down. I know we've got a green bar at the moment, but gap down as everything else did. So I'm still sitting here. Yes, we had a reasonable day on Friday, and it sort of pushed up there. And, well, I think it's just I'm looking for points of probably shorting at the moment. Still can't be overly bullish for these markets. Same with the Nasdaq here. It saw some more money going in. It looks a bit more positive. A couple of times it's been sort of a little bit more positive than the other markets, as we see money flows running into the Nasdaq. But overall, bigger trend still down. Really would be looking for opportunities in the bigger picture to be on the short side as opposed to the long side. As with the Dow, no difference there. Same old all the way through there. Just before I look, well, the FTSE's not going to be open, I'm afraid, but FTSE on Friday closed up nicely. This will be certainly off this morning. Haven't got the data at the moment, but that will certainly be off this morning. Whether we can see it holding on is another matter. It's the most bullish of most of the equity markets, of all the equity markets I'm looking at. It's one of the most bullish, apart from this sort of breakdown last Thursday. It had been sort of running, it had been in a decent uptrend. We'll see, it might just gain a little bit more, but I would imagine today will certainly be off. Just hitting 8 o'clock now. We'll just see what's happening here. Sorry, there we go. Is it going to go? There we go. So selling at the moment. Okay, that will all be priced in if you're looking at your own accounts, and you've got a live feed of futures market there, or real time. Anyway, FTSE down so far. I would expect that to be pretty much the case for this morning. Right, that's pretty much it for me. There's nothing else there. No. Right, I wish you a great day's trading, and I'll catch you tomorrow. Bye for now.